Hey everyone, I'm Brad Padgett again, and we're here today again with Savannah Mobley. Last week we talked with Savannah on a couple of different things about just getting to know her on a personal level and getting to know some things about the relationship between her and her dad and her family in that aspect. But so how's your week been this week?
Oh, it's been so good. I had 4 tests and I made an A on 2 of them and I made a B on 1 of them, and then the other one I didn't do so hard on, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's all right. And I guess stress levels back down this week a little bit, so you're not having to worry about as much,
Yeah.
especially with it being Thanksgiving this
Mhm.
upcoming week. But going back to last week with just a couple of things, how has this week been since we had that counseling session, since we've seen that? How has this week been with going over what we talked about last week?
It's been okay. I mean, like, me and Ronald really haven't had we really haven't talked that much this week because I really haven't been home this week just because of everything going on. But every time we've spoken, like, it's been really good. I've just kind of talked to him, said hey, and how are you, and how's your day, and stuff like that. And so that's worked a little bit. And yesterday I came home for the first time in like 2 days or 3 days, and he told me the first thing he said was, well, you know those little cups you put in your Keurig, well, you want to put them where they belong, like in the trash? And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I forgot. So anyways, that was just one incident, but that was the only one really.
So you're approaching things in a more positive manner then, and not let them get to you as much.
I'm trying to, yeah.
Well, and today I'm hoping that we're gonna go over a couple of things. We're gonna make this a 2-part series where today we're gonna talk about a portion of your greatest fears and then give you advice on that so that you can practice it throughout the week, and then next week we will wrap it up and figure out how the advice worked and then where to go from there. So with saying that, what is one of your greatest fears?
Probably disappointment. I don't want to disappoint people.
Okay. Now, is it just people in general, or is it specific
Well,
types?
people that put their trust in me, like people who are over me, and my boss, or my parents, or my teachers. Like, I don't like disappointment because it makes them think differently of me, I guess.
Okay, so you said that it makes you feel like they think differently of you. Has there been a point where you know that you've disappointed someone, and like their mood or atmosphere or demeanor has changed towards you?
Well, I know growing up, like, I really disappointed my mom a lot just through different things I did, like from middle school all the way up to high school. And well, those are like big time like disappointments, but even smaller disappointments. But the thing is like when I disappointed her, and maybe by doing something to make her break that trust, like, it was really hard for me to build that trust back up with her, and then therefore it was just hard for her. It was just like that bond was broken between me and her, and I felt really bad because she just like really couldn't really talk to me for a little bit, and so that was really hard.
I got you. So in that, you're disappointing the fact that you're letting someone down, their expectations of what you should be or what you shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
That gets to you. What do you think people's expectations of you should be?
I mean, I think people should have high expectations for me because, like, I want to be able to do good and to not just be average, I guess, and I want to be able to please people. So I want them to not just have like really low standards. I want to be a high standard person, I guess.
Okay. So within that, do you feel that you have a need to want people to like you?
Yes, I do. That's a major part of who I am. I really struggle with people. If people don't like me, I feel bad.
Okay. But based off your personality and because you come across as a very upbeat, very a bubbly personality, but within that, you want to make other people smile. From what I've got to see of you and things, it's not a necessity to where you have to like me or my day's not complete.
Yeah.
So, but you just want to make everyone around you a better person, a more happier, and those kind of things. Within school, do you feel that you put too much pressure on yourself to set yourself up for disappointment?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I know I disappoint myself sometimes because I have a problem with procrastination, and I'm sure a bunch of other people have that problem as well. But I don't really set myself up for it. Like, I expect out of myself to be a very good student. I don't expect to make like all straight 100s, because that would just make me disappointed all the time, because I would not be able to do that. But I expect if a class I have is semi-easy, and if I put the effort in, I can make an A, and I don't do it, then that's me letting myself down, because I could have done it.
I got you. And in a level of disappointment, when you feel that you've disappointed someone, will you confront them with that or no?
Yes, I have to talk my problems out. I can't just be quiet about it. I have to go and talk to them.
Okay. And how do they respond to that?
Well, if it's my mom, she doesn't respond at all. She has to have some time. She's one of the types of people who have to step back and think about it for a while before she can sit down and talk. And I hate that, because I'm not like that. And so I have to get it out right then and right there, and because I know I feel bad, and I want to be able to say, I'm sorry, like, this will not happen again, and I know I let you down, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Okay. And then through that, with you feeling that justification of talking to that person, how do you feel after that?
Like, after we've talked?
Yes, after you've addressed the issue.
I feel relieved. Like, I guess it depends on the outcome if the person forgives me or not for being a disappointment to them. But, like, after they have forgiven me for doing whatever I did, or, said it was okay, like, we'll try again or something like that, it makes me feel better. But then again, sometimes it still kind of, like, leaves something there, like, I know I did disappoint them, and, you can't erase what was done. So they're still going to know, well, they're not as reliable as I thought they were.
So what you're saying is it gives that lingering effect that their, I guess, optimism to trust you again with responsibility or trust or whatever it is, that's put a dent in that, or some kind of disformity to where it's not as strong as what it once was.
Yeah.
Now, how would you define disappointment?
By not living up to the expectation that someone else had for you to live up to.
Okay. So, do you feel that that person's expectations of you should be their only source of, like, judgment of you?
Well, no, but just the expectation could be just a job to do. Like, you can say, well, go do this, or I need you to do this for me. Or you can say, hey, I need you to remember to do this, and, like, I'm terrible at remembering. And just, it's not like a major expectation, so it's something I should be able to do. But, when I just, like, fail, especially at the little things like that, like, it makes me feel like I'm unreliable. So.
I got you. Now, you were saying with certain job tasks that you're given, sometimes when you don't perform like you're supposed to, you feel like you've disappointed someone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that way when you don't know necessarily what all's going on? Like, do you ask for help in those kind of situations, or do you try to figure it out, and then if it doesn't work, then go and figure it out, or ask someone for help?
Well, let me just say this. So, back to, like, wrong and, that whole situation. Like, growing up, I was expected to do everything right the first time. And if I started doing it a way that I would, like, that he wouldn't do it, like, he would correct me and say, no, that's not how you do it. You're supposed to do it this way, my way, or you're doing it wrong. But I wouldn't necessarily be doing anything wrong or doing anything the wrong way. So like that is like, I know it sounds weird, but it's kind of molded me to like ask questions through every step of something I do. So that way I do it right and do it the way that person wants it done. And I can't do like, and that affects me especially like in being an employee of like a job or something, because I have to, when I'm sitting there and I'm doing something and I don't know what to do. I mean, it's good that I don't just do it because I think it's something that I need to do. I ask a question, but then my boss even points out like, she pointed out one time that I ask a lot of questions and I don't, I guess it's something with common sense, but I feel like I have common sense.
Well, I don't think it's a lack of common sense. I think it's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to please that individual on a personal level to the point that they know you're trying your best to accommodate their needs. And you're trying to create that difference between an average person that just goes out and does a job the way they would want it to be done in comparison to the way your employer would want it to be done. And I understand both parts of that because when I was very young working with my grandfather, when we would put up fence for our cows and stuff, he would tell us, he was like, there's no point in doing something twice that you could do right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't do a sloppy job the first time, do it right the first time. And you'll save yourself time, headache, all this other stuff. But within that, who's to say that his way was the right way to necessarily do the job? It could have been that we could have done it this way and still had a good job done, because his thing was he stretched his fence first and then put his post in. Where I'm the complete opposite. I put my post in and then I put my fence. Because you're doing the exact same job. It's just different mentalities of how you do things. But I don't feel that I ever disappointed him in doing that task, but I learned things throughout disappointment in my life. And I think that's one of the greatest ways we learn is because we learn from our failures, we learn from our mistakes. And if we don't learn from them, then we're not growing. And it's okay for us to make mistakes because we're human. I mean, we're not going to do everything perfect in life. We have to understand that, especially when we go do something new. When you compare yourself to someone that's been there doing the same job that you're going to be doing for, just say 4 years, they've got 4 years of experience. They know the tricks, they know the ins and outs of it, where you have to learn that. You have to pick that up. I think that a lot of times too, we jump on ourselves too early and say that we disappointed someone based on our observance. Sometimes I've actually done this before. When I thought I disappointed someone, I'd go and talk to them and tell them, hey, I'm sorry that I disappointed you on something. And it's just not in their character to show a lot of gratitude or a lot of optimization and just saying, hey, you did a good job today. That they're not vocal on that same aspect as some other employers. And through that, they told me, like, no, you didn't disappoint me. You're doing a fine job. And I think that's something that I struggled with growing up, especially through working in college and things and going to different jobs, was I wanted to try to please my bosses and my managers. And through that, I lost the disconnect of what it truly meant to work honestly within myself. Because I was putting their standards of what I should do above the standards that I felt that I should do. When all along, the standards that I should set for myself should be higher than anyone else sets for me. See, and that's something that I do as well. I hold myself to a high standard when it comes to working with youth, working with kids, or being a part of a group, because a lot of times they look to the older people in the groups for leadership. And that's a big burden sometimes to have, because you're like, well, what if I mess up? I'm going to disappoint all the people in the church. I'm going to disappoint my family. I'm going to disappoint all this. And then it starts to weigh on you. And then you start feeling pressure, and then you feel stress, and then anxiety kicks in, and then you just feel like you're beating yourself up. But the big thing that I think that has helped me with that is that when I look back at what I can do through Christ and what He allows me to do, no matter how bad I mess up, He still loves me. He still has compassion and grace for me because He knows that I'm not going to be perfect. He doesn't expect me to be perfect, but He does expect me to love Him and strive for that life of living my life like Christ would. I think probably one of the greatest examples of that is Zacchaeus, when he was a tax collector that nobody liked. But yet, even how small he was, God could still have a major impact in his life with him working through others. I mean, when you think of disappointment and you start thinking about the things in your life that you may feel that you've disappointed people in, you're putting yourself to human standards. And we should be living for something so much more than that. One thing I want you to try this week, I know that it's Thanksgiving week, so you'll get to see some of your family and things, and work's going to slow down some. But this week, try not to think about the fact that you're disappointing someone on an individual basis. Because the greatest part about all this is that if God is willing to forgive us for all of our mess ups or all of our mistakes, then humanly aspect, if they can't move past that point of forgiveness with disappointment in all those reigns, then there's something deeper, there's a deeper issue there that has happened. Because disappointment, although it is disappointing, it's not something that should define you for the rest of your life. It's not something that you should feel a burden about, because you can walk into a room with 100 people and all you say is hello. Probably 3 people in that room's not going to like you just off the one word you said, because they're judging the outward appearance of you. They're looking at you. They're saying, I don't like her hair. I don't like her shoes. But it's not the fact you disappointed them. It's because they've already made a self-image of, I'm not going to like that person. They have to get to know you first. And once they get to know you on a personal level, the disappointment in their lives towards you will fade away. Because I think that's something that when we say we're disappointed in someone, a lot of times it's because we don't understand them on a deeper personal level. We only know them on a one base aspect of their life. And that could be, oh, I'm just your boss, that's it, no more. I mean, I don't care about your personal problems, all this stuff. You come to work, that's what you do. But yet, there's so much more to every single person than that. And that's something that we kind of have to be willing to not allow us to pull us down, because our own self-image of ourselves, even though we hold ourselves to high standards, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be brought down by those that don't take the time to get to know us on that personal level that we do disappoint. Because there's throughout your whole life, people will be disappointed on multiple levels for what you do, but it's what you do after that that defines you. And I feel that one of the great aspects through that, or one of the great things that you can do through that, is come back even stronger and prove to them that this is the person who you are, and that through Christ, this is the identity that I'm willing to live by. So this week, we're going to test this theory. Just don't think about disappointing anyone, because if you start thinking about it and you put that image in your mind, well, I know I'm going to disappoint 2 people this week. I mean, you're going to be looking for those people to disappoint. So don't even put that into your mind this week. Just go throughout your week and just trust in God and everything that He's doing, and pray to Him and say, God, just guide me this week. Just be with me and motivate me and push me through this week so that people can see you through me. And if you live your life like that every day, then God's going to lead you and guide you in ways that when you get confronted by those certain things or certain people that they're like, well, you're disappointing me on this, God's going to give you the right words to say, what can I do to be better next time in that kind of aspect. So try that this week and see how that goes. And we're going to meet sometime next week and we'll talk about how that went and then go into a couple of different things. So,
Okay.
well, thank you for being with us again today. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.